So I'd like to call my story tonight Man versus Beast, okay? So it was the year 2000. Certainly not as futuristic as anyone predicted, and the whole Y2K thing obviously never panned out at all. But I was busy not giving a single shit about that because I was 10 and watching Jaws while that was all supposed to occur. But what did occur in 2000, that was a similar big crisis for my family, was when we found out in the newspaper, mind you, that our house was going to be taken through a shady back alley legislation called eminent domain for the expansion of the local landfill, since all of us humans are pieces of shit who are literally destroying our planet one trash bag at a time. Anyway, Conestoga represent, if you're from there. So after that, a many months-long struggle ensued between neighbors who wanted to sell out and those of us who got a lawyer and were like, "Don't tread on me, bitch." And my family was on that side of the dilemma, which meant that we would occasionally find dead animals in our mailbox from our hick neighbors who wanted fast cash and were pissed off that we did not. So anyway, it was an interesting experience. I was very proud of my 10-year-old self for being at loads of protests. I felt really badass. And, it certainly has created a monster if anybody knows me now, so. Anyway, during this time, I had a really fucking cool little hamster named Cinnamon. And he was awesome free therapy during this experience, right? And Cinnamon was a teddy bear hamster. And if you're wondering why they called a teddy bear hamster, it's because he looks like a fucking teddy bear. And he had these awesome, dark little ears and a dark little nose, and he was fluffy and shit, and it was so cool. I loved him. And, some hamsters can be total douchebags who, bite any human who comes near them, don't want anything to do with you, but Cinnamon was totally my bro. And it was honestly truly amazing that he survived as long as he did, because there'd be moments like when I walked into the living room and he'd be in the cat's mouth. And then he only survived because I went, "Ah!" long enough for the cat to go, "Poof." And there was another occasion where he rolled in his little hamster ball down 2 flights of stairs and definitely sustained a serious traumatic brain injury. So one day, I came home from school and unfortunately had to learn a very difficult, important life lesson. Because I went upstairs and Cinnamon was in his cage, but instead of, chilling in one of his little tubes or whatever he liked, his feet were up in the air and he was stiff as a rock. How about that? So, how about that, right? So 10-year-old me clearly could not deal with his obvious fatality. So I picked up his little rigor mortis body, and I put him in my teal plastic Barbie bed, and I tucked him in with the silk blanket that came with it. And I put those things in a shoebox under my bed. And then promptly went back to my denial stage of grief, okay? So a few weeks later, right, let that sink in. My dad comes up in my room and he's forcing me to clean it since I was a real piece of shit. And he comes in and starts to notice the funk that has taken residence in my room. So he's rummaging under the bed, looking for the source of said funk, while anxiety is boiling up out of my body. And he pulls out the box and begs the obvious question, "Sam, why did you put Cinnamon under your bed when he was obviously dead?" And I started to tear up and I yelled, "I didn't want him to be buried under trash!" And since secretly, my dad has a huge heart and lots of feelings underneath it all. This very much fueled his fire to continue the legal battle against the asshole landfill people, which we later won and got to keep our house that we already owned, guys. That's cool, right? Yeah. Stick it to the man. So if you're wondering, we did have a very official, nice ceremony for Cinnamon after that, where I played Moon Over the Ruined Castle on my flute. And he and his Barbie bed are still in my parents' backyard. May he rest in peace.